Hello everyone, what's happening? It's Richard here. How you all doing? I hope you're doing well. Alright, so real quickly before we get this video started, I just want to say if you stay to the end of it, this video I mean, something cool might happen. So, stay to the end. So, as you guys know, this week is a big nerd week, really. I mean, this is a big geek week. I mean, on Friday, we got The Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming out, and Saturday's Free Comic Book Day, and of course, there's going to be a new video from me on both of those things, so that's just icing on the cake. Plus, Marvel's finally releasing the newest Spider-Man series with Peter Parker. He's finally Spider-Man again, so this is, I mean, if you're a Spider-Man fan, this is probably an exciting week. Honestly, I'm not one of those people. I've never really been a big Spider-Man fan. But I do enjoy the movies, I do enjoy the video games, that's for sure. But I guess I've just never really had the best comic book experience with Spider-Man. I mean, every time I've read a Spider-Man story, or read a story with Spider-Man in it, he's just always come off as annoying, just like the way, like, I've never really liked the comic book version. It's kind of weird, but I am still looking for the one Spider-Man comic where I'm like, okay, I see why people like it. But either way, this is still definitely a massive Spider-Man week. And again, I do enjoy the movies, and so I thought, why don't I celebrate the release of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and all that stuff by doing a Spider-Man movie review. But I can't just review The Amazing Spider-Man again. I mean, I already talked about it last year, or 2 years ago. Now, while I can't just re-review The Amazing Spider-Man, because I think that'd be weird, thankfully, there were 3 other Spider-Man movies that came out before that one that I can talk about. Long story short, I'm going to be reviewing for you guys the original Sam Raimi directed Spider-Man Trilogy, which conveniently enough was released in this nice little box set. So I remember way back in 2012 when the original trilogy started up, I was still not really reading comic books at the time. I was about maybe 11 going on 12, because I remember I was still in Harry Potter mode, because I think Harry Potter came out the year before, and so I was still kind of jazzed about it, but I was still excited for Spider-Man. I even remember the first teaser trailer, which they actually stopped playing fairly quickly, and when I explain what happens, you'll know what I mean. Essentially, the first teaser trailer is of a bunch of criminals trying to rob a bank, and then Spider-Man subdues them. Like, you don't know it's Spider-Man, but you know somebody takes them out and prevents them from robbing the bank. The next thing you know, you see them strung up on this big web that's actually spun between the Twin Towers. So yeah, that teaser trailer was pulled fairly quickly. But either way, I was really pumped to see it. It looked fantastic. I was really excited. And when the first one came out, I went and saw it. I had so much fun seeing it. It was such a good movie. And I was definitely in, like, Spider-Mania at that time, but it didn't make me want to read the comics. It was more like I bought the toys, I played the video game, and that was about it. Then, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I believe, came out 2 years later in 2004. Let me check. Yeah, 2004. That's when Spider-Man 2 came out. And I remember, like, my friends and I, we weren't too excited about the villain because, I mean, at the time, we were all big Venom nuts, and we wanted Venom to be in it, but it was Doc Ock, and everyone was like, ugh, I want Venom. But in retrospect, I actually like Doc Ock a lot more than Venom as I got older. I think Doc Ock's probably one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, him and Green Goblin, I think. The only version of Venom that I like is the Flash Thompson Venom. The Flash Thompson Venom is awesome. Anyway, so when Spider-Man 2 came out, I thought that was 10 times better than the first one. I was like, oh, this is even better. So, Spider-Man 2 in general was just an even better experience. Plus the video game. Do you remember the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game? That thing was incredible. And so at this point, all us fans could do is get excited for the third one. You know, obviously, you know, what they could do with it. You know, everyone was like, oh, when's the third one coming out? When's the third Spider-Man movie coming out? And then 2007, our wish was granted. And a lot of my friends were really excited for it because Black Suit Spider-Man, which means Venom. Hey! Okay, so when the movie actually came out, I actually liked it my first viewing. I don't know if I ever said this, but I actually liked it my first viewing. But then I saw it again, and then my opinion kind of deteriorated a little bit because it just didn't seem as entertaining the second go around. Like, it just seemed a little bit more annoying. So yeah, those were my initial experiences with each of these movies, and since then I have rewatched them. on DVD or on, not really on Blu-ray, but I've rewatched them over the course of my life. But I hadn't watched them in actually a really long time because I was kind of more focused on the Amazing Spider-Man, because I was like, okay, this is my Spider-Man now. This is the version I really like. But again, for the sake of this review, I did want to check them out again, so I watched them all recently, and so now my opinions have changed a little bit. Not too much. I mean, I still relatively think the same about each of the movies as I initially did, but my opinions have definitely changed, especially since I haven't watched them in a long while. First and foremost, and I think this is something every fan agrees with, the original Spider-Man trilogy is incredibly corny. And that's all Sam Raimi. I mean, when you hire a director like Sam Raimi, you're gonna get a lot of cheese in your movie, because that's just who he is as a director. If it was another director, I would probably be like, this is stupid, but Sam Raimi, I mean, he actually does cheese and makes it work. Though, I will say the third one goes a little too far. And it's funny because Sam Raimi and his brother Ivan actually wrote or helped write the screenplay for the third one, which I was like, really? Like that? I think they're great together, and yet they wrote the third one, which not a lot of people like. That's surprising to me. But then I watch it again, I'm like, oh yeah, because this is the most corny in the in the trilogy, so it kind of makes sense. Another thing that's kind of changed is that Mary Jane Watson, who didn't really bug me at first, she's kind of annoying in these movies. I mean, I don't know if that's a common opinion, but she's a little annoying throughout these movies. But other than that, I mean, my opinion hasn't changed too much about the trilogy. The second one's still my favorite. I love that movie. I think it's great. I still think the first one's really good. But mainly for the Green Goblin, because that's a great freaking villain. And then, of course, the third movie is my least favorite. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as initially, but it's still not a movie where I'm like, oh, this is great. Actually, no, I think my biggest problem with the third Spider-Man movie is that Spider-Man just was unlikable throughout the whole thing. I mean, it's one thing for Spider-Man to be likable before he gets the black suit on, and then to be unlikable when he gets the black suit on. But no, just throughout the whole thing, he's just not likable. So yeah, overall, just the original Sam Raimi directed Spider-Man trilogy, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great, just brilliant action sequences. Like, I love the end sequence in Spider-Man. I love the train sequence in Spider-Man 2. And I even love the various action sequences in Spider-Man 3. I mean, there's some great action in that. Overall, is it the greatest trilogy in the world? Not really. But it's still a lot of fun, and I totally would watch them anytime. Alright, so I guess I could say my initial star rating for it would be 3.5 out of 5. I think that's a pretty fair, decent review for it, so. Alright, so that's about it for me. This is the end of the video, and if you waited all the way to this point, then guess what? I'll do something cool. Even if you didn't, I'm still doing something cool. But either way, hopefully you waited to the end of the video, because this is something really cool. So as I showed you guys, I own a copy of the new Spider-Man Trilogy 4-disc Blu-ray set, which is actually really cool, especially if you're a big fan of these films. However, for some odd reason, I don't just have one copy of this set, I have two. Now, instead of just taking the second one that I don't need back to the store, I decided I'm actually going to give this away to one of you. That's right, I'm giving away an entire Blu-ray box set of the Spider-Man trilogy to one of you lucky viewers. Before you ask, no, this isn't a sponsored by Sony thing. I'm doing this myself, because again, I do actually just have 2 copies of this, conveniently enough. Now, if you would like to win this copy of the Spider-Man trilogy on Blu-ray, here's what you have to do. You have to be a subscriber. If you're not subscribed to this channel, you are not eligible to win this. Second, this is only available to anyone like in this region, because so like if you happen to live out of the country and you win this, it probably won't work for you. Unless you have a region-free Blu-ray player, then that I don't care about. Then you can enter. And last and most importantly, you have to, in the comment section, tell me why you are the biggest Spider-Man nerd. Like, why are you such a big Spider-Man fan? If you are a big Spider-Man fan, hopefully you are, because that's the point of the contest. Tell me why in the comments, and whoever gives me the absolute best answer, like just completely moves me with one or whole paragraphs of words, then I will send you a message, be like, hey, guess what? You're the winner, 2 thumbs up, and then I'll give you a shout out in the next video that I do. Well, a video a week from today, which is the 10th. That'll be the deadline. And then we'll just exchange information, and then I'll send it right out to you, and then boom, there you go. But anyways, that's about it for me. Don't forget to like this video, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, directorcutradio.com, Tumblr, Vine, and all the other stuff that's linked in the description down below. Also, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like what you see, and favorite the video, because I like it when you do that. And I'll see you guys next time with a brand new video where I review The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and talk about Free Comic Book Day. That should be at the end of the week. If it's not, then something happened. That's all I'm saying. Bye-bye, guys. Don't forget to put in the comments why you're a big Spider-Man fan. May 10th. That's the deadline. Later.